Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365, a daily Eagles podcast, live 2 hours every single day here, Monday through Friday on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate all of our listeners right now. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Johnny Mac, let's talk a little offense. And I normally go to the Super Chats at the end of the segment, but this is about the offense. So I'll start with this, and then we'll talk A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and then talk to Lesbo in hour number 2. James Carver checks in with a $20 Super Chat. James, big thank you, sir. He says, J-Mac, long speculated, and I think he's talking about Chris Long, on the Greenlight podcast. So long speculated on Greenlight that the script issues and thus first quarter might be Sirianni and Kellen still working to mesh their likes, your Jeffy complaint. But once off script, Kellen's offense starts kicking in. Thoughts on that? I think that's a fair point. Johnny Mac, your response to that, what Chris Long speculated there.
No, well, the first drives, which, the first quarter, you're getting off script. So, he's off script by certainly the end of the first quarter. He's usually been off script by play 2 because of what happens. But typically coming into this game, it was getting behind the sticks with a poor play. So, that kind of throws your plan out the window, whether it was penalty, Saquon slipping in Brazil, yada, yada, yada. In this particular game, the early struggles, and I remember pointing this, like Jalen was seeing phantom pressure to the point I made a joke, and I love you, Jaws, but if you see old Ron Jaworski highlights, he got sacked so much when he first got here, he would, crumple before the defender would get there to save himself from the hit. You saw a little bit of that from Jalen Hurts. Like he thought the pressure was there before it got there. He was to me, it was very cognizant. He knew Jordan Mailata was not out there and he was expecting pressure. And the first drive started with 11-yard pass to A.J. Brown. Then they ran it. Saquon, basically nothing. And then Jalen took a sack. And that pretty much killed that drive. Second drive was run to Barkley, incomplete pass, penalty, and then sack. And then the third drive, they got a little bit going past AJ. Couple runs by Saquon, get another first down. Run it to Barkley again, pass to AJ, first down again. Then it was Kenny. Then weird direct snap to Saquon, lost 3 yards, and then he was sacked again. That's your first quarter possessions. So no, I get why people think that, but no, I don't think the scripting issues before this game, it was about, as I said, getting behind the sticks, clean operation that Kellen always talks about. In this particular game, which Jalen Hurts seeing pressure, feeling pressure before it was there, and sack, all 3 drives. So, yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with. I don't know if the scripts are great, but I don't think it had anything to do with the script.
Well, I better get that early game scoring fixed. You can't go into games versus great teams, John, and just be inept for 25% of the game. It's not going to work out well late in the year. So
against certain teams, no, it's not going to work out.
Well, I'm talking about playoffs.
But right? they're very cognizant. They need to fix the issue.
Yeah, they're cognizant of it, but does that mean they're going to fix it? That's the question.
A lot of it, again, I know everybody wants to blame the coaches, but a lot, and I would say in this case, more of it is on the players. Execution, no penalties. I mean, sack. Now, some of them, there was one where he just, like I said, it wasn't even there. I mean, he just fell to the ground because he thought it was there. And that's about execution more than play scripts and things like that. And by the way, play scripts, Bill Walsh, God rest his soul, unleashed that on the world. I don't think people realize how quickly you get off script in the NFL. So most guys, because everybody's a copycat, do 15 plays. But, again, if the first two don't go the way you want, you're generally off script by play 3. And you're in your 3rd and long or, part of your play call sheet and completely off script. So that's one I believe that's from talking mainly from Doug. Doug taught me that. That's one of the most overrated things in the NFL.
First
Just
play, John, was under center, play action, and a pass to AJ Brown for a first down. I was licking my chops when I saw that, John.
Well, they're trying to get better at it.
Yeah, no,
But
they should.
from the consistent aspect of it, that I think they were under center more in this game, but 90. I have to go. It was all runs, basically. So yeah, I mean they're not a traditional play, but their play action is from the pistol and the gun, which it's a different looking type of play action, but it has the same effect if you do it properly.
Good stuff, John. Let's get into this offense further with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. The first thing I want to talk about is A.J. Brown and the comment. And you brought it up yesterday, and it kind of went over my head. Not over my head. I just didn't think to respond to it. But, I saw it floating around on social media. And as you point out, why they're never going to be a running team. A.J. Brown, after the game, I'm happy guys are running the ball, but we want the ball too. Now, he said it
Yeah, I
jokingly. I know
mentioned
he
it.
was
Yeah,
smiling. I
yeah.
get it. He said it as a joke.
By the way, he
Well,
got the ball.
there's
He was the
truth in
only one.
every joke, John McMullen.
No, there isn't. There's a
Yes, there
lot.
is.
No, no, there isn't. There's a
Yes, I
lot of.
believe there
There's
is.
a lot of. No. Well, as a fan of comedy, no, there isn't. There's not truth in every joke. Sometimes you're just joking to joke, but in this case, there is truth to it. I'm not
Okay,
disagreeing with
good. Yeah.
you. Yeah. I mean, they're not. And boy, I why? First of all, you want to do everything well, as I pointed out. Nobody's saying they shouldn't run the ball. I always talk about margin of error.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you're a leader of a team, A.J. Brown. He's crying about the targets already. And I know he was being somewhat kidding, but dude, you just blew a team off the
No, he's
page by
not crying.
25
Well, that's what
points.
I'm saying. When I brought it up yesterday, I said I shouldn't even bring it up.
Well, it was going around everywhere. I was going to see it eventually. And by the way, I don't like it. Now, I think it's a stupid comment. Your teammate who just ran all over his former team had a tremendous day, probably feeling really good about himself. And A.J. Brown's up there calling for more throws to the wide receivers. That's diva.
Well,
That's
you can't.
diva mentality,
Come
John. That's
on,
not a team
AJ.
mentality.
That's that now. Hey, Dan Cilio. He's being Cilioized.
No,
Diva
I'm not.
mentality.
That's a dumb
AJ
comment, John.
Brown is the least diva wide receiver you're ever going to see. As far as work ethic, as far as all that stuff. I mean, it's just dumb to call AJ Brown a diva when there's so many divas in every wide receiver. Has he had his problems on social media? We joke about it all the time. He wishes he can get off. He can't get off. A generation of people. He gets off for a while and then he gets back on. It's very hard to do. He was joking. He was laughing about it. He himself got targeted. It was everybody else who didn't get targeted. It's like the same thing with the thing going on with Saquon. And they had them mic'd up where Nick Sirianni talked to him about, hey, I'm going to bench the guys. And everybody loves that he said, no, I don't care. And by the way, that's the thing I love about Saquon. He doesn't care about shit like that. And he
Oh,
is a
AJ
leader.
certainly does.
Well, no, from the standpoint of, look, Saquon leads the league in rushing. Saquon, whatever, is he leading the league? I don't know if Derrick Henry. I don't know who's leading the league because I don't pay attention, to be honest. But he's producing at a very high level. If he's getting the football 5 times a game, he would not be happy. He's getting the football a lot. He's producing a lot. He's happy. And that's nothing against AJ. That's human nature. Nothing against Saquon. That's human nature. I mean, do you think he'd be happy if he was running the football 5 times? Of
Well,
course
if the
not.
team's beating teams by 25 points, you would hope the team
No,
captain
he
would be
would
all
not
right
be
with that.
happy. Of
Yeah, I
course
know he
not.
wouldn't.
And
I know
by
he
the
wouldn't. And
way,
that's part of the reason that playing running football is laughed off the page, because all these dudes want their targets and they care more about that than they care about the winning as a team. And
well,
that's the modern
and
NFL.
by
That's what it is.
AJ's targets weren't a problem. Again, 5 receptions is equating, to 20 rushes. I mean, that's a lot. Not maybe not for AJ, but it's significant. Um, that's fine. Everybody else was the problem. They only threw it 14 times. Um, Not a problem in the game, obviously. But the point I bring up, the way people take things, you can't control it. He was joking. I could say he was joking. He was joking, but there is a grain of truth to it, in that nobody's going to be happy if they throw it 14 times a game the rest of the season. Why it's not feasible. Hey, you're not going to win games. You got to play the Giants every week, number one. But number two, even if it was feasible and you could beat everybody the same exact way, yeah, then they wouldn't be happy. That part of it is true. That part of it's not. You think Devontae Smith is going to be happy getting two targets, whatever the hell it was, for an attack? I mean, come on. And
No, I know he's not.
Devontae Smith is one of the least diva wide receivers, and even less than AJ. Doesn't say
I can
anything.
only
Doesn't talk.
imagine what AJ would have said yesterday or after the game if he got what Devontae got on Sunday.
He wouldn't have said
Oh,
anything.
I'm sure he wouldn't have. John, yes, he would have. He clearly has
No,
pointed all signs to being that type of player. Everybody in the chat thinks I'm crazy. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like. I don't like the comment. I think it's a stupid
no,
comment, especially considering the
it's a
circumstance.
flippant comment. It's stupid because you know what? I will agree with you. It's a stupid comment because you're allowing people to take it in their stupid directions. No offense to you.
That's
That's
fine.
why
It's
it's a
fine if you
stupid
think that's
comment.
stupid, but when they're
In the
forcing the
case of
ball,
Saquon, everybody loves. I forget who pointed it out, and I would have given him credit. What is he going to say? Oh no, I want to go back in there. Oh no, he's smart. Saquon's savvy. Plus, he doesn't care. That's part of it as well. But what if you sit there and say, no, I don't want Will Shipley to get in there. I want to break this record. You look like an asshole. You know. So it kind of works both ways if you want to take that baton and say the obvious stuff. The obvious stuff, and this is another reason why, because AJ's very truthful. And again, I talked about it with Britton Covey. That's what as a reporter, that's what I love about players. That's why I like players, and that's why I like AJ and Lane and Brandon and Britton Covey and all those guys who tell the truth. He's telling the truth, and he's getting penalized for telling the truth. If you want to penalize him for telling the truth, feel free. I don't think he's a diva. First of all, he works harder than everybody on the freaking planet. That doesn't strike me as a diva.
well, that doesn't make you not a diva working hard. Good, you're making $30 million. I'm happy to hear that you're
Well,
working
not
hard as
everybody
an
does
elite
it.
receiver.
Not everybody does it.
Now you want me to give him flowers for doing his damn job, John? I'm not doing that. I think it's a stupid comment after you blow a team off the page, and it's one game. I mean, we talked about it's one game that they've
What
run
do
the ball.
you mean? One game and you got him. Oh, they bully ball. They got to do this every game. I'm saying he's allowing people like what you're doing and taking it in this negative direction, even though everybody who says it, I was standing there. Ed asked a question, and we're all telling you he's laughing, he's joking, and you don't want to believe it. But there is a grain of truth to that, in the fact that if you got 11 games left in the season, and if you throw it 14 times in all 11 of those games, which obviously is not going to happen, but if you did, yes.
Oh man,
Every damn
AJ be
receiver.
crying up a storm if that happened, John.
Yes,
he
he
could be
would.
15-2, and he'd be crying up a storm.
And so
And everybody would tell
Devontae
me I'm
Smith,
crazy for saying it's
and
stupid.
so would Devontae Smith, and so would Dallas Goedert, and so would every other receiver. They'd be smart enough if they were 15-2, which again they wouldn't be. That's not the time to complain. And everybody keeps a lid on it as long as you're winning games. But the minute you lose a game, oh yeah, they'd all be upset. And these are some of the best guys in the NFL when it comes to diva-like behavior for receivers. Because people take AJ's emotion out of context. Devontae doesn't even show emotion. So I think everybody's on board with the fact that Devontae Smith is not a diva. Well, he's not going to be happy if he's getting 2 targets for 1 yard and 1 bubble screen. He's not going to be happy, nor should he be happy. And by the way, Jeffrey Lurie's nobody's going to be happy.
I know. This team just loves to pass the ball, and then they signed Jalen Hurts to a $50 million quarterback contract, who's just not a prolific passer. That's never been his game. So interesting, the whole thing, the way it plays out. I had a problem with the comments, and I don't care anybody that says I'm crazy. Appreciate you for being here and for watching. I thought they were stupid comments, and I will stand by that. Let a guy eat, AJ Brown. Relax, dude. You got 3,000 yards in 2 seasons. You were given another new.
This is the last question of a 10-minute press conference where he's literally chuckling, and you're turning him into I don't know, Pol Pot. I mean,
I'm just saying. No, when you wonder why Jalen's forcing the ball to AJ, because the jokes are coming. In the media right after if he doesn't do it. If AJ Brown had Devontae Smith's stat line, this would have been a way bigger comment. And everybody knows that, but they're all like, "Oh, he's protecting Devontae, or he's saying it for Devontae." Okay, if that's your takeaway, you're entitled to your opinion. If you think it's a big nothing burger, that's fine. I think it's a stupid comment, and I don't think it's becoming of a guy that wears a C on his chest when Saquon Barkley just had a huge day, and you beat a team, by the way, by 25 points.
And this is your takeaway after you beat a team like a drum.
No, it's not. I've been doing shows for 4 hours. It's the first time I brought it up, John. Come on. It's not my first takeaway.
I mean, this is not the hill to die on.
I'm not dying on the hill. All I'm saying is I thought it was a stupid comment.
It was a stupid comment for a different reason than you think it's a stupid comment.
Well, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's
because
fine.
It lets the WIP-ization of people take it in these ludicrous directions. That's why it's a stupid comment. And AJ should know better because he's gotten in this heat numerous times, whether it's emotional outbursts on the sideline. Same thing with Nick Sirianni. You can't control where people are going to take the baton. You can't control where people are going to take the baton. So when a player tells the truth, even in a joking fashion, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. I don't get that. I'll never get that. It's the truth. So who gives a shit? He's telling you the truth. Would you rather have him lie to you?
I know why Andy Reid moves on from every receiver that does pretty good in his system because they ain't worth it. And Crowley checks in and says, "Let's trade AJ Brown then, Zander, and see how good this team is." Crowley, sorry, we didn't pay the right quarterback to be able to do that. You can't get rid of AJ Brown because the team relies on him, Crowley, and I know that. I'm fully aware of that. Go ask the Kansas City Chiefs what they did with their star receiver and their 2 Super Bowls in a row straight without some diva in the locker room crying about targets. They go out and win football games. That's all they care about.
You're comparing AJ Brown to Tyreek Hill. And by the way, the Chiefs were much more explosive with Tyreek Hill. They win different ways now, but
okay, well, 2 straight Super Bowls.
And that's the Eagles. The Eagles. Well, you can get upset about it as much as possible. The Eagles can't even fucking play without AJ Brown.
Oh, I'm aware, and that's on the quarterback, John.
There's other players on the field.
Okay, but quarterback's the one who's holding the ball at every single play. They average 27 points a game this year with AJ Brown, and they're 3-0. They're 1-2 without AJ Brown, and they average 17 points a game. They're an inept offense without a receiver. That's nowhere else in the league. That's a quarterback problem.
I often say I don't think people realize how good AJ is. But number one, let's see where he is in the league. I'll look at PFF. I guarantee it's top 10. We'll see. Number 2.
Callie says that ain't Jalen, Zander. Callie, please explain to me how that is not Jalen Hurts.
Number 2 in the NFL, by the way, A.J. Brown. Yeah. I mean, should they be able to persevere a little bit better when he's not on the field? Yeah, I talk about it all the time. But yeah,
Shut up. This is our team.
It is amazing that so many people don't realize what they have in A.J. Brown in Philadelphia. It is fucking amazing to me. This is one of the best players. He's only been here he's only been here.
I have a problem with the comment. The player's great. I know that.
Who gives a shit about the comment? You think anybody's upset? Where do you think these C's come from? Where do you think these C's come from?
I know. The players elect the C's, and they're so perfect with all their picking of the C's. I view it differently than they do. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. That's perfect.
No. I first of all, what does it make it perfectly? They're voting who they want to be captains. That's all I'm saying. Not Nick Sirianni because Doug Peterson did that once during the COVID season where he just named captains because they weren't around each other. It's like, well, who gives a shit? And he just named the captains. The Eagles vote on their captains. The players vote on the people they want to lead them. And first of all, I'm the person captains don't mean shit in the NFL. The only reason a captain means anything, if you're a team in the NFL and your quarterback isn't a captain, you got a problem. That's it. That's as far as I look at captains, other than people liking to buy jerseys because the C is on there. And how many stars in the C? I didn't even know that was a thing until Slay pointed it out to me. That's how much I care about fucking captains. But the players are voting for them. So the assumption that he's doing a bad job amongst his teammates, that by definition is ludicrous because they don't have to vote for him. They didn't vote for Devontae Smith. They voted for him last year. They didn't vote for him this year. I don't know why. I don't care, to be honest. He's not the most vocal guy, probably. But they're the ones voting on the C, not anybody else. Not me, not the reporters, not you, the players.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's getting 1,500 yards a year because if you don't target him, he's going to have a problem with it. So they're obviously going to make him a captain. He's the best player on the team.
Oh yeah, the players give a shit about he's getting 1,500 yards.
No, they all know he's the best player on the team, John. They watch him at practice every day. They know how good he is.
Well, yeah, obviously. I wish,
and I'm not taking away from his work ethic. It's great that he has a great work ethic. I love to hear that. I had a problem with the individual comment. That's all. 25 points you beat a team by. It's a team sport. You're not gonna get a target every single. You're not gonna get 20 targets every single game. AJ, one game, and by the way, he had 20 targets of the receiving yard. Jalen Hurts had 25 receiving yards to receivers that weren't AJ Brown this week.
Yeah, but the point, he wasn't talking about himself because he got targets.
I know he was.
And all he said, here's the exact quote. It's like a good and a bad thing. We're happy the guys ran the ball, but we want the ball too. He laughs, as I wrote. I wish there was a few more attempts, but it happens. You're on to the next game. You take it. So it's all good. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with that?
You just beat a team by 25
We're happy. We're happy the guys ran the ball. Yeah, I wish there was a few more attempts, but it happens.
It was so backhanded. You're reading it to me. You don't hear the backhanded nature of it as you read that out loud?
So it's all good. No, but I know what you didn't hear in the moment, the laughter.
I watched it. I watched it live. Somebody put up a video of him doing the response.
So, I mean, what is the big fucking deal? It's ludicrous.
That's fine if you don't think it's a big deal. It's just a difference in opinion, John. I thought it was a stupid comment. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk to you about. If
Yeah.
you don't think it was stupid, you've made your
Well,
opinion very
no,
clear.
I've agreed it was a stupid comment for this reason that we're
Oh,
having
yeah,
this discussion. It's a stupid comment because it allows people to go in weird directions. That's why it's a stupid comment. We actually agree on the fact that it's a stupid comment. He should know better by this point, especially in this city. People are going to take things in stupid fucking directions. And that's what's going on here. It's not a big deal. You're on to the next game. You take it. So it's all good. Oh, Jesus Christ. Take a C from them. You don't see how that's a little bit of an overreaction? Especially the best player on the freaking team. Talking truthfully, by the way. And
I
that's
know, but
another thing
you talk
because
about expectations though all the time. It creates a small narrative of like the clouds in the air, even if it's not said out loud. We can't do this because we're going to upset
oh,
the other side of
well,
of
that's
the
where you
aisle.
got me banging my head against the wall. You can't do it because it's not sustainable. And now it's going to be AJ's fault when they go out and throw it 40 times. Because maybe
Oh no,
Joe
it's not going to be
Burrow,
AJ's fault. That's they've been trying to do that for years.
because maybe Joe Burrow's capable of generating a touchdown here and there. And they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. So Philadelphia, prepare yourself. They're going to have to throw the ball a little bit moving forward. Yeah, they're not going to be able to do this week in and week out when other offenses are capable of generating a touchdown. You can't just in the fourth quarter hand the ball off 14 times in 15 tries because you're not
Fair enough.
up by 25 points. So you're going to have to throw the football. So
Fair enough.
AJ, if you're out there, if you're listening, keep telling the truth, buddy.
AJ, I'm sure AJ loves you, Johnny Mac. You love AJ Brown. I'm sure he loves you right back. He probably doesn't love me, and I have no issue with that. Just go perform for the team and be a great captain. That's all we need you to do, AJ Brown. John, the question about Jalen Hurts, and we're out of time because we have Les Bowen coming up, and we'll talk to Les Bowen about his takeaways on this game. Not trying to say that we're going to be a bully ball team, but when you go back to the quarterback conversation, is making him more of a game manager. I guess you're going to view that as a regression in what he does, but I view it as just a different style of approach with his skill set. Do you think that's a losing or a winning formula moving forward?
Well, I'm not one of the people that think game manager is an insult.
I
Number
agree.
one.
That's where I agree 100%.
I
It's not an
used to have
insult.
this discussion with Jody all the time. He would take it as an insult when I would call, Brock Purdy a manager of the game because he is a point guard. I don't think that's Jalen's game. So if you're scaling back that direction and with this particular quarterback who's, whatever you want to call it, playmaking, whatever I just described Jalen's abilities to play the relentlessness, I always call it. To play 60 minutes, you got to play 60 minutes. He might have a shitty game for 58 minutes. 3rd and 3 versus 4th and 3. You look like the worst quarterback in the world. Then you look like the best quarterback. What you want to do is up the consistency. How do you do that? I have no idea. If they could do it, they'd do it. But I do know if you're talking about scaling back to prevent him from turning the football over, or you're talking about scaling back because you don't have confidence in him making plays in the passing game, that's a really bad thing for this football team. If they go to that point, it's a really bad sign for this football team.
Yeah, I just think right now, I mean, in this specific moment, as the Birds are sitting here 4-2, Jalen has struggled slightly this year, reading the field, seeing the field. I wonder if that approach, even if it's not your end goal, even if it's just for the right now to allow him to acclimate himself to the new offense, to the new role he has, does that help him as a quarterback in the right now? I think it could. I think it's fair to say, get Saquon involved a little bit more, even if it's shorter passes to Devontae and AJ, whatever it is, allowing Jalen to kind of take some of that pressure off might open it up for him later in the year.
Boy, I think they got. I don't know how much more you can get Saquon involved. I mean, he's got a ton of touches. I don't even know if it's currently sustainable through 17 games. Hopefully, he stays healthy. But I don't know. I don't think that's the problem, getting him involved. They've gotten him involved at a very successful level. I had whatever 1700 all-purpose yards before the season. They're going to go over that, and no one else went that high. For all the talk of all the how much I hated Saquon, I'm the one who said he was going to get 16 to 1700 all-purpose, and everybody else was below it except Ed.
That prediction looks good. He's already up to 658 on the ground alone. I don't know what he's got in the air. Not too many in the air. Probably under 100.
But the point is, I don't know how much more you can get the guy involved, and I think they do a good job. Like that was smart. The game's over. I don't give a shit about his career high. He doesn't give a shit about his career high. So take him out of the game, and save some of those touches. Because if he's getting 14 touches because they're running it 14 out of 15 times, that's just more wear and tear. So I thought it was smart to get him out of the game. But yeah, I don't. That part of their offense has been successful. Now they got to get everything up, everything else ramped up to where it was. And again, as you point out correctly, this is not a high volume thrower. This is not Jared Goff. This is not Kirk Cousins, who's going to throw for 4,500 yards, and you don't want them to be. But they have to be more effective in the passing game, which has been, as you point out, just, is AJ going to make a big play down the field, or is AJ not going to make a big play down the field? There's got to be way more consistency in the short stuff, the intermediate stuff. And it's disappointing that it hasn't grown to this level. And that's why the Eagles offense looks sluggish all the time.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where I would say is there a better approach? It's not as much me trying to say, okay, become ground and pound or become bully ball, but is there a better approach to get Jalen up to speed on what you just talked about? I would argue that there is. Maybe I'm wrong on it. Do you have a problem with what they're doing right now to acclimate it for him?
Well, it's not going well. So yeah, they got to figure out something, or you got to start thinking about going in a different direction down the road. Obviously, it's not going to happen immediately, but
right.
Now this is through Brian Johnson. Everybody blame Brian Johnson. Everybody blames Nick Sirianni. Now they're going to blame Kellen Moore. There's one common denominator, and he's got to get it going.
Yep, no doubt about it. Let's get to our commercial break. I'll get to all super chats after Les Bowen. Appreciate everybody in the chat today. A lot of people mad at me today, Johnny Mac. I love it.
Yeah, I'm usually the one people are mad at. So
welcome to the show, baby. I love it. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. We got the greatness of Les Bowen to bring the real truth to the conversation coming up next with Les Bowen. Appreciate that. Before we get to our commercial break, let me tell you guys about our great friends at BetUS. Go check them out, betus.com.pa. And if you look at your screen, there's a nice big promo code there, YouTube 150. That gives you a 150% sign-up bonus on your very first deposit, and you get 125% on your second and third deposit. So deposit less and bet with more at betus.com. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, 24/7 customer support, and they'll even give you your own custom account manager to help you make your bets. I'm betting on the Saquon Barkley over, and I did last week, and that means we're giving away a jersey because he hit it over, so we'll be doing a jersey giveaway today. Go check out BetUS. Appreciate it, everybody, and we'll be back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.